Hey guys, and welcome back to Content is Profit. Today is a special episode because, as you can tell, we're not in Studio Podcast Suites or we're not in my home office. We're here with the wonderful Caryn. And Caryn here came to us with a couple of questions about a show. And we got to know her a little bit better. And she's a serial creator. I mean, it's been creation after creation her entire life. She's been pushing to create a very positive impact. And part of that is a new show that she's launching right here where we're recording in her home studio. Yes. So welcome, Caryn, to the show.
Thank you. What an amazing introduction. Wow, am I going to live up to that?
No, you are. Since the moment we started chatting, I really got impacted in a positive way with, one, your energy, and two, your drive to create positive change through the stories that you want to share.
I do.
So to me, that was incredible. And you know why we're big fans of podcasting, number one. So a little context for Content is Profit. Obviously, this is more of a businessy show, but I think there's a massive lesson with you on how you want to do and that you're not afraid to share your stories. A lot of people out there in our community, or maybe people that listen to the show, they might be intimidated by sharing their stories, maybe because they might see it as it will affect their business or what they want to do because it's so, together. So I want to kind of dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, I think that has surprised me more than anything else in curating this podcast and talking to people and talking to them about how I wanted to interview them, how I wanted to intertwine our stories and kind of tell, the adventures of my life, but also incorporating other people into it so they are telling their stories. And the hesitancy I got from authenticity is really, it was shocking to me, really.
From the people that you want to bring onto the show?
I realized that in telling my stories, it's going to impact other people in their lives. So
yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
And I don't want to blow up other people's lives. I'm not but it is my story. And when other people talk about, well, I can't tell this part of my story because it'll impact my business or my job or my life, my personal life or this or that. Well, for me, it's never been about that. One of my stories is that I have a bipolar son and, having a mentally ill child it's lonely. It's lonely.
Yeah.
Because you feel so stuck and so helpless, basically. And I think he's 35 now.
Yeah.
So, and still struggling with mental illness. But especially in his teenage years where I was just desperate for help, reached out to people, and it was just such a taboo subject.
Yeah.
And in my family as well, people just didn't talk about things. And I think that's true for a lot of families. And I think that creates a generational pattern that repeats itself and incorporates it, this trickle and ripple through generations that really we could just create a better impact. And that's what I'm hoping to do.
Yeah, I love it. The theme, I think, of the podcast, the last few episodes have been authenticity and,
right.
Zero fucks given. I be like, this is me. Not just like for me personally, but also I think the advice now with all the AI technology that's coming out, I think the couple last episodes that we recorded, I was driving to Podfest and I saw this ad right before we left of a guy that's like, here, this is my AI clone. It's been so many hours that I haven't used my studio or like we've said all this time. And it just made me rant because what are we doing to trust, right? Or what are we doing? What if the AI clone, is saying all the right things to attract that customer, but then when they deal with the real you or they meet you, or is that really what we want the relationship to be with the people that come to our world, whether that's a business or the personal?
Do you think that will be a rarity in the future, authenticity? And I think for me and my podcast, what I hope to create is, a trust between the audience and what I'm doing, and that they can believe what I'm saying, the stories that I'm telling. I mean, obviously, everybody's perspective is different. That's why I love the idea of sharing my stories with people who have been on the adventure with me to see their perspective and how they viewed the situation from where they were standing. And I think that's what grasp audiences. I mean, I think we're so desperate right now for that with each other. And we're not talking face to face. Here we are in a podcast and we're reaching out. But if AI can do it, then why are we here? If AI can create it, I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that it can do, but can it generate authenticity and a relationship?
Yeah, I think it was gonna separate to the masters from the rest, right? Or the experts from the rest, because, I watch a lot of comedy. I love it. And I think like the art form can teach us a lot. And, you see a lot of comedians that they're very comfortable with the crowds, right? And they'll have this conversation, they're back and forth, and they're quick and witty, and like people will continue to laugh, right? And you might see somebody that's starting on an open mic, and they might have their jokes really scripted, and the way that they want to deliver it. So that's how I see it in a way. It's like, okay, AI super scripted. They might be saying the right things, but is it the right tone? Is it like the right energy? It might not be the right thing for that audience at that specific moment, right? Like it cannot be standard. I think is going to be an advantage for those that decide to be authentic and create and get better at the craft of delivering a message, especially if you own a business, especially if you're dealing with customers every single day.
Absolutely.
Like, how do you troubleshoot, right?
As a real estate agent, we have the same conversation.
Yeah.
Real estate is being taken over by AI, the marketing, the people, Zillow, it's all being generated by AI tech. And eventually, they're like, oh, we're getting pushed out. Realtors are getting pushed out. There is still going to be a need for an authentic person, a face-to-face person, because some people just want that. It's going to be a concierge service, in real estate. And I think that's where I'm going with. That's what I've always offered, because I'm like a full service type of person. But I think that's where real estate is going. Yeah. And the real estate agents that are left are going to be offering a service that AI can't provide.
Yeah. I mean, look at, I think like with every like technology revolution or evolution of like things that are happening, when people went from their main vehicle being a horse to a car, right? Like people are like, oh my gosh, like what is this?
What are we going to do with the horses now?
There's still a ton of horses out there. There's like different things. People love those animals, right? They haven't got, if anything, they become more expensive, more elite to own.
It's an enjoyment now. It's a choice now.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, you don't have to have this, but you get to have this. So we're exploring in a different way. It's a whole new adventure.
Absolutely. Recently we started, so we've been in this debate because obviously, we're Hispanics, we're Venezuelans, and our main language is Spanish. You can barely tell by my accent right now. But it's one of the debates when we started our podcast where it's like, okay, are we actually doing it in English, or are we doing a double take where we do one episode in English, one other one in Spanish? So our decision,
Interesting.
Yes. And that was a big debate because we decided in English eventually, because we decided to go after the American market, which is where we live, and the closer to us. We did launch a second podcast with Content is Profit called The Mass Life Show. And that was our test for Spanish. We stopped it because Content is Profit got a ton of traction and capacity, filled up the bucket.
Right.
We're bringing it back, but it's been interesting because now technology, when we decided to relaunch it, you could technically speak in English and automatically they can auto dub it for you. And
interesting.
When we did it, it's close, but it's like 70% close. but it's like, that's not my voice. Like, that's not me. That's not how I speak.
But you're getting there, right? This is how
it's getting there, but we're decided not to do it because we're like, it becomes this ethical thing where it's like, okay, do we really want to do it? And take Mr. Beast, for example, right? They dub all their videos and they do it professionally, and they do it with human beings dubbing as characters. And there's a strategy here. He hires well-known voices on those countries because the audience is already familiar with that voice.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. In Mexico, they hire the guy that voices Spider-Man to voice Jimmy, who's Mr. Beast. So people are already familiar with that voice in dubbing, and they're like, oh, they recognize it attracts. Exactly. So with dubbing is your voice, but then the lips don't move. And it's like the technology, I think, is going to get there, but it's going to be an interesting evolution to see like where creators can take this.
I mean, look at where filters have us right now, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm about aesthetics. This is my studio, obviously.
This is beautiful.
But that's where, I mean, people, the visual.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then everything else comes, I think.
It's perception initially, right? It's like opening the door.
I mean, I think you have to grasp an audience in all kind of ways.
Yeah.
For me, it's always been, God, I hate to say that, but it's a visual people see you first and then they listen. Yeah. It's not the other way around.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true for men as much, but I definitely think that's been my life experience. How about we just say it that way, right?
So how will you feel? Okay. So here's an example in our industry, and then we can go through this, but I think this is really interesting because in our world, a lot of people feel very proud if they grow organically in a way, like their things, like the content that means obviously is resonating, is doing these things. But at the same time, these platforms are built for paid media in a way, right? So you pay to play, right, and faster exposure, faster growth, all these things. Now there's this battle. There's a company that we worked with that they're raising money, and the industry that they're raising money on is very elite, is very like, premium in this way, right? And they started their platforms in an organic way, trying to figure out like with the editors and this thing that production. By the way, we don't handle that production. We've just been with them in a consultancy aspect and then in our studio. And they weren't able to open the doors for conversations for the investment because the front value that these people were looking was audience, was how big are you? So they switched strategy to running ads and attracting audience that way. They reached 500,000 plus subscribers very, very quickly on their main channels. And all of a sudden now doors are being opened. Do these investors or these companies are watching their content? Maybe one or two, but they're not. But it opened the door for opportunity.
Right. So
I would love to hear your thoughts on something like that. Not that specific company, but it's like the front value.
I'm a whatever
something.
It takes kind of girl. And I look at the goal. Who am I trying to reach? What is my purpose? And why am I doing this?
Yeah.
So everybody has different answers to those questions.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to have the same answers. So I think my strategy is whatever it takes to get to the end result.
Yeah.
And whether that's advertising, whether that, I'd like to sell myself because, I think I'm a hell of a product, but, but what is it going to take to get there? I don't know. Yeah. But I'll use whatever's in my toolbox to get there.
Yeah.
I think that's life. We use what we have. I mean, as parents, as spouses, as friends, as we live life, we pick up, we use what we have. And then when we get more tools in our toolbox, we use those.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I think, the secret sauce.
Yeah, that is. I think we've seen in our industry many case studies of things that maybe one day somebody tells, it doesn't work. And then you look at the case study and it does work and they're crushing it. I think give it time. I think everything works, and the tools, obviously there's different strategies that you can go about it. But I love your mentality of like whatever it takes. And I think like it makes a lot of sense with your story and like what you've gone through and, tell to the camera. Tell to the camera what the show is going to be like, where they can find it, because we want to send people there.
Okay. Well, we're at foxtailspodcast.com, and we're all over the place, just like that. Foxtails.
Yeah, we're going to put the
double
link.
X's.
Yeah, we're going to put the link right below. As soon as it launches, it's going to be amazing. And I highly encourage you to listen, because like the first time that we came here and we chatted, we talked equipment maybe like 2 minutes, but then we spent like 2 hours just talking about your story. And I think it's fascinating. And we're not going to share much here, because I want people to kind of go to your show. I'll listen firsthand over there.
Appreciate that.
Now, I want to shift a little bit. So you do have a ton of family and people and relationships, that you've interacted with. And when you made the decision to do this, right? You mentioned earlier, some might receive it positively. Some might be like very
apprehensive
to maybe show up or even like consume it, right? And that puts a strain in relationships.
Yeah. In some of my marketing stuff, songs that I've used, words that I've used, they're like, oh no, that's not me. Or I don't feel that. I can't be associated with that.
Yeah.
And
walk me through that.
Sad.
Walk me through that. Like, how long did it take you to kind of decide on your message and be like, okay, like, has it been in your head for a long time? Because as a baby entrepreneur, I guess, on my side, there's ideas that are there, and they just stay there, or things that I'm like, I should say this, I should do this. And then they stay there because of the fear of that external judgment, I guess we can say.
Yeah, right. It's the external judgment. And I think that's where we all pause and say, oh, well, how are people going to receive this? And I've never looked at it that way, like, especially like with my son being an example, when I was going through the worst parts of that, him being in and out of treatment centers and just seeking support and help for that. And people were so grateful. People started coming out of the woodwork saying, I can't believe you shared that with people openly. And we'd be at, dinner parties. My husband is in politics and all, a lot of things. And I would just openly share our struggles, my son's struggles, and people were so receptive to it. They were in secret. They don't want to talk about it, but they would come up. Thank you so much for telling me that. We have been struggling with our child, or can you help? Because I was just, insurance, medically, all of these things were just really hard obstacles to overcome. And especially 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And basically I was spending my whole life trying to work this system. And I was looking for support. I was looking to share, because I'm like, oh, I found this. How do I get this information out? There's got to be other people. And every time I told somebody my story or what I was going through, they were like, oh, me too. Or, oh, I have this, or I know this person going through this. And it was just, for me, I was never ashamed of it. Like, I was never embarrassed of my son. I was never ashamed of his illness. Growing up, there was a lot of crazy people in my family, and they weren't ever shunned, or they were always welcomed with open arms. We knew, there were some people that were more stand back, but it just never occurred to me.
Yeah.
And I think going forward, I think that's basically what I hope to bring forward. I'm just going to tell my story. The way I do it is sometimes it's raw, and I use raw words to express my feelings. And I'm past the religious tendencies that are going to make a barrier for some people. If they just see my words and not my heart, then I feel like I'm just not doing something right. Yeah. Because, if we have to bleep out a word or do this it hurts my.
Yeah. It chips away at that authenticity, right? I feel, and I mean, there's multiple examples. You have Gary V, for example, right? He's huge on social media, and he's huge on just like saying what comes without any filters, right? And I think a lot of the pushback that he gets is he says bad words, and he's like, dude, that's how I feel it, right? That's authentic to me, and that's how it feels good to say it that way. And he's built a culture that doesn't filter that out, right? For example, like I grew up in a very I don't want to say very strict, but my dad was from a small town. He was raised Catholic, and I remember specifically on that topic of the bad words, right? To this day, grown ass man, he's in the room and I'm about to say a bad word. I flinch.
I don't say bad words in front of my parents.
Exactly.
It's a respect issue for me.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to think. I mean, if I think, oh, my daddy's watching, that I'm going to filter myself. But when you said no fox given, whatever, I use that and even have a hat, because I really don't want to filter myself. Sometimes it's not appropriate.
Exactly.
But it's not just words. It's a whole thing. I've in my relationship with a creator, I think I've come full circle. My brother's motto was nothing but love, and he was a follower of Christ, and I'm on that journey to find the way.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But certainly my journey has taken me down a long, winding path. And, I'm not out of the 40 years in the desert.
That's one very exciting. And I can't wait to kind of see you flourish, because as soon as you start publishing, this is what we experienced too. You listen to our first Contents Profit episodes. Oh boy, that was like, for us, was top notch. But you look at it now, and not just the way it looked, but also like how we conducted ourselves was really interesting. This is such a passionate thing, because once, I guess, in my head, I decided, hey, I'm just going to,
Here I am.
It's just pretending or trying to do this. It just adds so much friction to my execution.
It takes away your creativeness. I put out one video and doing some marketing, and it was just the way I felt that way that day. And the song moved me.
Yeah.
And the pushback I got on one song, how dare you use that song? And all you got was that. And people that know me and know my heart, know my story, that have been on the journey with me, to judge me in that way. I mean, it's like, it's a ridiculous thing. Oh,
what was your answer to that?
I consider everybody's thoughts, and then I just filter them through what I feel God is leading me to do. And I'm not a pure person. My journey's not pure. Yeah. I'm probably not heading in a pure direction at any given time, but my goal is to do better every day. So if somebody says that to me, I'm like, okay, let me review myself and see where my heart was at the moment. And if I feel like if my heart is in the right place, then I don't feel like I should, judge myself or it's really like shame put upon you, right? There was this is a poignant memory from, I think I was a middle school cheerleader, and we had these things called lemon squeezes.
Okay.
And we would just sit in a circle. Our coach would get us together if there was some problem. And there was a girl who beautiful girl. And I think I was probably the youngest of the cheerleaders. And, it was a big deal. And she was doing things that other people didn't think were very becoming to cheerleaders. And so we got in this little lemon squeeze, started talking about it. At the end, they took a vote to keep her or not to keep her. And I think I was like the only one who was like, I don't think we should be kicking her out for that. But her walking away and the shame that, like her leaving that little pod at Sandalwood, it was like, I just, that always stuck in my head. And I think we project that onto people because of our own shame.
Yeah.
And, for whatever reason. And I'm okay with, I'm not projecting things, like on children's or if I'm I use language appropriate to my situation, children, my dad, I'm not going to sit and cuss. Even my 28-year-old, when he's around my parents, he's free flowing, very respectable young man, but he'll say a word and I like this when it's in my front of my dad, because it's just not, they're from a different. Yeah. So I know how to,
but I used to say, manage every situation with both hands, right? It's like, we can adapt, right? But at the end of the day, we can also be authentic.
Right. But if I'm telling my story, then it's my story. Yeah. Like, and if I'm sorry, like, oh, you don't want to be on my podcast because I used a song, or, oh, I don't want to be associated with that. With what? A true hearted person, a person that's trying to be a better person, a person that's trying to help people, a person that's trying to live and survive. I mean, we're all doing that.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a part of that. And I don't get it. So, but I will adjust around that person, because I know that I think it's trauma, past pain, past conditioning.
Yeah.
And so, I will adjust myself around certain people, but as a podcast, if the goal is to tell my story, then I can't think about what this one person thinks. I mean, my dad is probably the one person in the world that I give a shit about what he thinks about me, but I'm going to tell him his story, and I'm going to tell it like, my dad was a rock star.
Yeah.
And he looks at himself and he doesn't see himself that way. But I'm going to tell the story through my eyes, my perspective.
Yeah.
And, just let the chips fall where they are.
I think that's what makes things interesting in many ways. And I understand on the business side that you might be scared,
Right.
You might have doubts to lean that way because stakes might be higher, right? Like, especially if like you own your own business or like you are the face of it. If you might be starting, we have a lot of people in our communities that are just starting their businesses, right? And it's like, man, like I have this job and I'm doing this side and everything depends on this. Or maybe I just quit my job and like, if this goes wrong, like, believe me, I've been there, right? Like when we started our business, we were like 60K on the haul because like that was the commitment and like we had to sell, we had to do the thing.
Yeah.
And right. This was during COVID with a baby. And we're like,
it's got to work. Right. Yeah. Well, I'm not in that position in my life. I got safety nets.
Yes.
I mean, people look, oh, well, she can do this. Or, I can do whatever the fuck I want to.
Yeah.
Because I've built that life for myself. I didn't come from anything. Nobody gave me anything. It irritates the hell out of me when people say I married my husband for money, because I was a very young widow when I met my husband and I was making more money than him and I was just doing my thing. But I've created a life that I'm proud of. Mm-hmm. I'm proud of the person that I am. And I understand that some people don't have the freedom to say what they want to say.
Yeah.
And I do. And that's a gift.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at things that are happening worldwide today, right? Like I'm from Venezuela, right? We've been on the headlines quite a bit lately.
And I love your story.
Thank you.
And I want you telling your story on my podcast.
Absolutely. With that, you can't even share pictures on your phones because the military will come and grab it, right? So it's like, is this fear that if you see countries and dictators and people shoving that down and not allowing people to do it, is because it is powerful.
Right.
And we are so fortunate that we live here in a country. And if you're listening from all around the world, you know, hopefully you are in a country that allows you to do this. So don't miss.
Less and less countries that are allowed to do that.
Yeah. Don't miss the opportunity to be able to create a positive impact with your thoughts and the things that you want to share with your products, with your businesses, right? Because at the end of the day, we're here to solve people problems. That's what our business, you know, it's out. So this is one of my perspective shifts that happen when we're trying to, you know, learn how to sell our things. We were at this event and the host was like, do you think, like, does your problem solve somebody else's? Does your product solve somebody else's problems? And I was like, of course, it solves this and this and this and that. It's like, well, wouldn't it be a disservice you not letting them know that you exist? You're gonna make their life easier,
right,
faster, better, like all these things. They must know about you. And they were talking about frequency and consistency in your messaging, your content, your thing. Because everybody's like, no, I'm just going to be, you know, excuse. But I'm like, if we really want to help somebody else, shouldn't we doing, you know, all it takes to put our message in front of them? Like, I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you. Let's do that.
What got me here with you is its own story, because obviously I reached out for help. I mean, there were many people that I interviewed to set up my studio and help me get started. And when I met you and told you what I was doing, you could see my heart. You understood my story and you were excited about the adventure. Where the other people, oh yeah, we can do that. We'll set it up. We'll do this. But they didn't want to meet. They didn't want to, hey, we'll do it over FaceTime, whatever. And it's just really, this is why I wanted my own studio, because when the moment hits me, I just want to sit down and talk. I want to tell what's going on. I want to help people understand that there are options outside of just what you can see in your view. Yeah. Because we get so stuck within ourselves that we think we're the only ones going through things or whatnot. But as far as me getting here, and this is how I ended up with you, because you were open to my story and excited about it, because that's the energy that I need here, right? I think that's what separated you from all the other people that I interviewed.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, those are, by the way, like years of messing up many times and years of not understanding really also maybe like where people are coming from to, like, when we started, we were highly transactional, right? Because we're like, we must make money. Like, if we don't make money, like, we don't eat. Luca doesn't eat. Like, it was like very high stakes, and it was like an interesting balance to learn how to manage that. And at the same time, you know,
you're doing a certain thing, right?
Yeah.
And so you're offering a service, but if you're going to interact with people and what they're doing, you can see, I mean, I felt your heart right away. And so I think that's, you know, what separates the cream from the rest of the crop, right?
Thank you. You're being too nice, but I think, boy, it comes down to authenticity at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely. But you have to have the skill set too.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been, believe me, many conversations that didn't go the way that we wanted to. Right. I remember a story early on with Fonzie, my brother, when we started, you know, selling, I guess, our social media packages that we used to do back in the day. I had a job in a fitness studio, and one day he's like, okay, I'm gonna go sell. And it was his job to like go call a bunch of people. And then I will come in and, you know, we'll meet with the person and close the deal, hopefully. Well, he wakes up, he didn't have a job at the time, puts his headsets on. And 8 hours later, I come back to the apartment. I'm like, dude, how many people you talk to? Like, we're framing as in like, let's chase the no's at the time. It's like, you know, if they tell you no, it's just a step closer to the yes.
That's right.
he made 0 calls that day. He got in his head. He was freaked out. He shares his story. It's hilarious. But, it comes down to, if imposter syndrome or being nervous, it's just lack of experience at the end of the day. We just got to put in the reps, get better. And,
which is why you're here.
Yeah.
Doing this with me.
Absolutely. And hopefully a lot more down the line, at the end of the day. Cause I see this is my constant battle with my wife, and I love dancing.
Yeah.
And she's not the biggest fan of dancing. And this is like our go and go. But I remember it's like when we first danced on a New Year's party with my parents present. My parents are really good dancers. And in Venezuelan and Hispanic culture in general, you must dance.
Yes.
If you're a guy and you don't dance, the rhythm
is going to hit you.
They will take your girl. Like if you're going to dance, you're not dancing, somebody will
Except
come.
your girl.
Exactly. She'll be like, whatever. But like if you go to my dad used to make us dance with a broom if we didn't ask our cousins to go dance. He's like, you guys got 5 minutes. If I don't see you dancing with a cousin or with a friend, or he's like, here's your broom. Yeah. And he inherited that from my grandma. But that forces you to get, out of your comfort zone, and we're not going to be good the first time we do it. The more we do it, we're just going to get better and better. And my mom's feedback to Katie was, you are a good dancer. Like you keep up, you are a good dancer. And even though everybody around it tells us that we are good together and we're like, that she knows how to dance, in her head, she still believes that she's not. And, one day, hopefully she'll realize it.
Belief is a connector.
Exactly. And that with everything in life, right? Yeah. One of my favorite lines lately has been, in order for you to fall asleep, you first have to pretend that you're asleep. And that to me hit me like so hard, right? And it's like, that's true. Crazy, right? Like what do? You lay down, you close your eyes, you're pretending to sleep, and then you fall asleep. And
one of my favorite quotes is, belief is a connector. It will eventually connect you to what you believe. And whether that's fear, whether that's any of it.
Yeah. So
that's how it works.
So good. All right. So as we wrap up, this has been such a good conversation. We need to bring you back after your episode. It's like the best shows in the world. Like, what are maybe some thoughts or like lessons that you want to leave with people here? We talked about messaging. We've talked about being true to yourself. Belief is a connector.
I mean, for me, it's just, I think that I have a story that can help people. And my goal is just to tell it. Like, I mean, people are going to hear it and they'll be like, oh, even people I know, even the people that have been through the story with me or that were right there beside me are going to be like, that's not what happened. And that's the great part of it, right? I'll tell stories and they'll be like, oh, well, that's not how I remember it. Well, exactly. So let's go back and forth. Let's figure this out. And I think it's just my journey, because I think that there are people that can hear it and say, oh, me too. Or, oh, I'm not alone. I guess that's really, for me, that's what helped me most throughout every struggle, whether it was being a 19-year-old widow, 9 months pregnant, whether it was a 6-year-old little girl on a stoop at a 7-Eleven and her mom, deciding to walk away. Whatever it was was that feeling, what's happening? I'm not safe and I'm so alone. And so I think if I can give one person hope, to say, oh, I'm not alone. Somebody felt that, or somebody, that happened to you too. I think that's my only purpose.
So excited.
That's why I'm not going to mince words or just.
Yeah.
I think, but that's just my personal journey. Yeah. Everybody has a reason.
Yeah. And I love that your intention is so pure and honest, you can tell the energy, right? Like you can tell when somebody is sharing that story that is authentic, really. So I
don't want my heart. I've decided to do put a pin in it. So we're going to keep a fox on the wall. And when it comes to a person, a part of my story that's going to, involve somebody else's story that they're not ready to tell, then we're going to put a pin in it. I'm not going to burst people's lives. I'm not going to bomb people's lives, but because it's about my journey.
Love it. Such an important thing to also, maybe let go, be like, maybe this is not the right moment, and that's okay. When we first started, I remember the guy that kind of motivated us to start a podcast. We were in a mastermind. We put in a lot of money into that at that moment. And everybody has been like, you guys need a podcast. You guys need it was like the hottest thing. It's like right before COVID, like 2019, fall 2019. And I remember standing up and asking him a question because in our hearts, we felt like it was going to be me and Fonzie as a co-host, right? And they were talking about this concept called the attractive character of a brand. And, the brand has like a visual and that character, that voice that leads the people through the message and so on. And in their experience, of course, they've talked about one attractive character, right? So my question was like, who is it? Who's the best bro? Or like, if we start a podcast, like, what's the advice on that? And their advice was one person starts the show. Yeah. And it didn't sit right. Like I remember being like, that's not the answer I want. And it was one of those moments where I was like, my intuition, my feeling, like is telling me something else. And we're going to go, we're going to go with the something else. And it was, let's do it together. Guess what? 700 episodes later, this show has changed our lives. We helped each other stay accountable. Because the days I didn't want to record, Fonzie wanted to record. Right. The days that he didn't want to record, I want to record. We can, something like a situation like this, that is just me leading the podcast. Maybe he's, with his fan. That's fine. Like it just allowed us and make us this so much better. So follow that, be true to yourself. Yeah. And the brand voice is not Luis or Fonzie, is Biz Bros, right? Like, and there's situations where Luis Biz Bro or Fonzie Biz Bro, right? And we believe that it will work, and it worked, right? So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So cool. All right, guys.
I'm so glad you did it. And here we are.
Here we are. I know. Maybe that was a scary moment. Caryn, where can people find you? How can they connect with you if they're interested to learn more about you, your story?
Foxtailspodcast.com.
Yeah.
And, Caryn Fox.
Yeah.
All over social media.
All over social media and your favorite podcasting platform. Guys, thank you so much. Again, if you want to be a part of this and if you have any questions on the business creator journey or anything content, go to businesscreator.club, join the community. If you want your 5-day clarity challenge with Fonzie, just go to bizros.co/monetize. He's going to help you completely free, no strings attached. You're going to have a full strategy. That's my plug. Go crush it. Go put your message out there. People need you. They want you. Anyways, I'll see you in the next episode.